look like the best team in the American League, no question. In late June, we started to see some evaporation in that pitching staff around Tarek Skubal. On the day that Skubal pitched, they were the best team in baseball. But then on the other days, their bullpen was started to be kind of a mess. And that's why at the trade deadline, it was surprising to me that they didn't do more. I think that their front office basically played to what we thought was a sturdy lead and felt like, okay, we can take the efficiency route. They went out and added Finnegan in a deal with the Washington Nationals, but they didn't go big at that time, and they're paying the price for it right now. And they are struggling. What is it now? 8 straight losses. I think it's 11 out of 12. Their last 12 they lost. They're 26-39. That's a 400 winning percentage since July 9th. But here's the crazy thing. As bad as the Tigers have been, and they're, a 15.5 game lead in the American League Central going away, there's still an excellent chance they're going to make the playoffs because the Houston Astros, would have to leapfrog them. We just had the Astros on Sunday Night Baseball. They are so beaten up with injuries. Yordan Alvarez out, sprained his ankle. Jeremy Pena, with the oblique injury that he suffered the other day. Josh Hader out. They've had to overcome so much. I actually think it's a miracle they're even in the conversation at this point. And Detroit holds a tiebreaker over Houston. So, Houston is 1 game behind Detroit. They would have to go over the top, and they're playing on the road right now. So I still think Detroit's going to get in, despite the fact they've utterly collapsed.
It's crazy. It's crazy to imagine a postseason without the Astros, too. Like, both sides of that equation are kind of crazy to me. But let me ask you a theory question. How much of these streaks is based on the manager? Like, do you place the blame or the credit at the manager's footsteps, or do you say this is the team? Do you say it is a joint effort? Because you could do it in 2 ways. You could look at the Tigers and say, okay, A.J. Hinch needs to get his troops together. Or you could say, like, look at the Guardians. Hottest team in baseball right now. And I know people really love Stephen Vogt. How much of the credit or blame goes to the managers when you have these teams on these big streaks?
1%. This is all about the parity in baseball. To me right now is all about this incredible wave of pitching injuries that we've seen. As pitchers have worked to increase velocity, as they built up their bodies, we're seeing so many more injuries. And I think those have become the great equalizer where all these staffs are breaking down all over the place. And so what do they need to rely on when that happens? Bullpens, which happen to be the most volatile part of any team in a given year. I mean, right now, normally when we get to the postseason, there are 3, 4, 5 teams with really great bullpens. There's only one great bullpen, and that's the San Diego Padres. Everybody else has problems. I mentioned the Dodgers. Their bullpen is decimated by injuries, which is why they're asking Kershaw at the end of his career, hey, can you get a few outs, coming out of the bullpen? And Kershaw told him, I'll give you whatever you want. The Mets, I'm sure today, are waking up trying to formulate a pitching plan. Same thing with A.J. Hinch. It really is remarkable how much the pitching injuries, I think, have pulled all these teams together in a mess. I mean, think about the Yankees. A month ago, people were calling for the firing of Aaron Boone, and are they going to make massive change? Guys, they might wind up being the number 1 seed in the American League.
Yeah. We're chatting with Buster Olney, the Major League Baseball insider and senior writer for ESPN. Of course, if you know baseball, you know Buster. And since you mentioned the Yankees, let me ask you, Buster. I mean, here we're going down to the wire here, and Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh for MVP. Who do you got?
So, look, if you told me that you thought that Aaron Judge should be the MVP, I'd go, that's totally reasonable. You're talking about the best right-handed hitter we've ever seen. He's having this incredibly historic season in terms of his average in OPS. But having been, a baseball writer for a long time, I do not think, and I don't have a vote for American League MVP, I think that the writers are going to vote for Cal Raleigh because I think it comes down to this. A catcher hitting 60 home runs and leading a pitching staff to a division title in Seattle a switch hitting catcher at that, and passing all these benchmarks, most home runs in a year by a catcher, most home runs ever by a switch hitter, most home runs in Mariners history. And yes, he has a chance to break whose record for American League home runs? Aaron Judge. He still has a few days left, and who knows? He might tie it. He might pass it. I just think that's a story that the writers will not be able to pry themselves away from, and I think Cal Raleigh is going to win the MVP.
It does feel like a magical season for the Mariners, and I feel like there's this feeling in the pit of my stomach that, like, you can't trust the Mariners in the postseason, but I'll say this. Looks like the Astros aren't going to make the postseason. It feels like that is their biggest nemesis. So do you trust the Mariners this year?
I trust it. I mean, look, the Mariners in the American League West, I agree with you. They've had so many ups and downs that you look at that team and you wonder how it's going to respond in the postseason. But I've had, people basically since the trade deadline, when Jerry Dipoto, their head of baseball operations, went all in an effort to try to win the World Series. They traded for Josh Naylor. They traded for Eugenio Suarez. It's one of the deepest lineups in the American League. In theory, their rotation is the best in the American League. But, of course, Brian Wu, the guy who's been effectively their ace this year, came off the came off the mound the other night with a right pectoral tightness. We don't know exactly what his status is going to be going forward, how effective he will be. But if you told me that the Mariners were, the American League team dogpiling at the end and going to the World Series, that wouldn't surprise me. I think on paper they are the best team at the moment. It just depends a lot on what can Wu give them, what can Logan Gilbert give them.